G'day everyone, Mike here, Prado 150 out of here. Got the Prado 150, I'm up to 292,000 kilometres, can you believe it? Just going to do a bit of a service on it, and I just thought I'd show you, do a short episode on how to do a reasonably basic service on your Prado. So today I'm going to change the oil, I'm going to change the oil filter, I'm going to change the fuel filter, the one at the front here under the bonnet. Also going to change, which many people forget, the cabin air filter, which is situated behind the glove box in the cab, and of course the air filter. So I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on how I'm going to do that and how you guys can save money just on doing a fairly basic service on your Prado 150. Oh, it's a lovely day outside. Lucky I got a garage. It's absolutely has been pouring with rain up here in Toowoomba. Now, to start with, I'm getting ready to dump the oil. So the little plate that you have underneath, which is a little bit dirty from all my four-wheel driving. So this is a what we call a. So this is going to be a 12 socket, and the sump plug is going to be a 14 socket. So I'll go and undo the sump plug, and I'm going to drain the oil. So what I sometimes do, what I do, I just take this off. Just seems to helps the oil drain a bit better. There we go. And we've got the oil draining there. So everyone does things differently, but while the oil's draining, I like to give it plenty of time to drain out. And if you give it a little bit longer, it's easy to get the oil filter off because it drains out too, and when you take it off, the oil doesn't go everywhere. What I'm going to do now is, while that's doing that, I'm going to go change the cabin filter. So cabin filter, it's behind the glove box. Don't worry about all my junk in there. So we're just going to take the glove box pretty much out, and right behind in here is the cabin filter. I've just taken the side off and I pull that down. Now just make sure that this doesn't come off up there, because I'll tell you what, you'll have a hard time trying to get it back on. So just make sure she's nice and tight and doesn't come off. You can see here, so this is the cabin filter, two little clips there, they just come off like so. Out that comes, and we just take them off. Now, someone asked me in one of my older videos, arrow up or down? Arrow's down. Okay, on the Ryco filters, it has an arrow that goes down. So we just slide it out. See how dirty it is. This one's not too bad, there's a few leaves hanging around. So there's the old one, and the new one just goes in there. So there's a little arrow there, it just says arrow down. Here we go, so here's the new filter. This one's a West fill. I haven't had any dramas with this brand. They're very similar to the Ryco, but they're a little bit cheaper. I still like to use a Ryco air filter, but for the cabin filter, I'm happy to use one of these. So just make sure there's nothing in there, no mess, leaves, dirt, anything else. So that just goes in there again. It's got an arrow here, airflow, so that goes in like so. How simple is that? And we just clip that back on, and we put the put this back, put the glove box back the same way we got it out. So I've clipped it in at the bottom, I've put the little strut, and I'm just going to push it up, and you'll hear that click, and she's back in place. How simple is that? That's how you change your cabin air filter. Okay, so the oil's still draining. The other filter that takes about a few seconds is your air filter. So I'm going to have a look and see what this one's like. Just a couple of clips that you have to undo. There's one at the back here and one at the back here. And this just comes out like so. And let's have a look. So there she is. That's the old air filter. Just be careful your gunk doesn't go back inside it. So yeah, it's got a bit of stuff in it. It's not too bad. That just goes in the bin and we get our new one. It probably doesn't matter what brand you use. I've been using the Ryco for forever pretty much. So I've just used this and I've had no dramas with it. So we've got a Ryco filter here. Got it from Autobarn. When you pop it in, for those that don't know, just make sure that goes downward facing. And it doesn't really matter which way it goes. Obviously it has to go this way. We just put it back in there. You can put a bit of grease on it to ensure that you've sealed it. Now, if you're like me, you're getting old, I've actually got to take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. I'm short-sighted, so this is perfect for me here without glasses. So we just clip it in. If you're anything like me as well, you got wires hanging around here and looms and whatever, so just got to get them out of the way. Make sure they're all clicked in nicely. One out the back, nice, and you just saved yourself a lot of money in your mechanic doing it. Well, I'm satisfied that there's enough that all the oil's drained out of the sump. So my next step is I'm going to finish that one job so I know that it's complete. So I'm going to take the oil filter off. It's going to be. So I have one of these. It's actually a Ryco one, and it just goes over the top of the filter. And I'll put my little on there. And you probably need another extension, which I'm going to use to bring it up a bit higher. And then you just undo it. I'm going to show you this bit if you can see that. So here's the extension there. So I've got an extension there. You just put you just put the ratchet onto here, like so. Probably giving you incorrect information because I've got to get the smaller size. So just hold on, folks. Right. So make sure you get the right size, and I just pop that on there. Like so, and yeah, you just can undo your oil filter, just like so. I'm doing this one-handed, so if I get it undone with one hand, I'm doing pretty good. And yeah, here it comes. So there we go, oil filter is out, and I was quite correct because it was empty when I took it out, and I haven't left any mess under the bonnet. So I'm going to put the new one on, and that's just in reverse of what we've just done. However though, when I do put the new one on, I only hand tight it, fairly tight, but I only hand tight the new filter. And we run a bit of oil as well, just the oil that you buy for your oil change, just run it around that seal there. So I just got the new filter here, so I'm using the Cooper one, which is the equivalent. It's also got that little part, same as a Ryco there, that we can get that socket thing onto. It's got a bit of plastic on there. So like I said before, just make sure you put a bit of oil around there. I'll just put some around there as well. Screw it back on, job done. Well, I'm trying to make this episode the simplest and shortest video that you've ever seen on how to service your Prado 150. So just to recap, I've just put the oil filter back on, tightened her up. I'm happy with that. I haven't cut myself on my hands from the pipes and the clips and all that normally happens when I do it. So make sure you put the sump plug back on. So I'm going to do that now. That's your 14 socket. So put it back on. You don't need to do it too tight. Make sure you change the washer in there as well. And I'm now going to fill it up. I'm sure you don't need to be shown how to fill up your oil. I buy the 7 litre container, and the Prado takes 7 litres exactly. So it's fairly straightforward. Once I've done the oil, I know that job's done, everything's done, filters are changed. And then the last job that I'm going to do is change over the fuel filter. Now, when I do that, I'm going to show you the way I do it. I have done a video similar to this before, and I've had a few comments on there about having not to take everything off. I've done a few of these now, and the way I'm going to show you, I find that to be the most easiest, less messy, effective way to change your fuel filter. Fuel filter change. So first thing is you hold this little clip down and you pull it off. Second step is to take the fuel lines off. Now if you hold these up here somewhere and put them over the way, you shouldn't get too much diesel coming out. Second or third or whatever step I'm up to is these little nuts here, okay, just here. So what you need to do is undo these two and take the whole bracket out. Take it over to your bench, and then you can take the fuel filter off. So I'll just undo all this, and I'll show you what I mean by when I undo the actual fuel filter. So I've taken off two nuts there, and this should just lift up over. It's just I've just got all my wires everywhere, so that just comes off like so. And then if you pull him over here a bit, there's a little clip that you need to take off. So you can't forget that. It's pretty easy. You just unclip him from here. So once it's unplugged, you can just take the whole thing out. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to unscrew that. I'm going to put it over a bowl because that's where the diesel's going to come out. And then I'm going to put this in a vise and I'm going to unscrew that, take it off, put the new one on, put it all back in reverse. So it's pretty basic, and then I'll show you once we get it back in how to pump the diesel back through, get all the air out, and job done. All right, so I got it in the vise. Doesn't matter so much if you wreck this, you know, your old filter obviously. I just put the vise into these little grooves that are down the bottom here and just start turning it. So I've just started turning it, and there we go, she's coming off, so there we go. So I can undo that. Now don't forget your filter's going to be full of diesel, so just be careful when you do take this off. Obviously use a nice, yeah, so you can see the diesel starting to go everywhere, so. Okay, so I got my new Ryco filter here, so hands are clean, area's clean. I've just got a bit of diesel around here, but that's not too bad. So I'll take her out, have a little look here, make sure everything's okay. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put the new one over it, so I don't need that, this old washer, so nice and carefully take it off without breaking anything. So the new one goes on. There, that's where it came from, so just nice and gently. Probably just pop that in there just to do it a little bit tighter than what my hand tight is going to be. So let's pop it back in the vise, nice and gentle on this one. Just do it nice and just fairly firm, not too tight. So that's good enough for that, I say. I've got a bit of diesel there, so I just like to run my hands over the washer there just to make sure it's nice and moist. So nice and gently, don't cross thread. So just nice and gently to just pop that on there like so. Pretty much done, guys, on that one. So just a little bit there. All right, so I've just put it back in the vise, not too tight, just enough. Yeah, everyone's got a different way of doing it. This is the way I've been doing it ever since I've been doing filters, and it's worked for me. And less mess, easy to do it on a bench here like so. Just tighten it up. You don't have to go crazy. Just enough hand tight now. This goes back in, plops down like that. Make sure you plug that in. Put your hoses on, clamp them up. Make sure you've got the right hose on the right one, and put that in there. Do everything up, and then I'll show you. I'll go and do that now, and I'll show you how to get all the diesel back in there so we've got no air. So I'll put the main pipe on. So the pump, the pipe where it comes from the fuel tank is the thicker one, and this one's, I've just got it off at the moment. So I started pumping it and I can feel it coming up, but I'm just gonna, just so I know when it starts, nice and slow like so. And when you start to feel it come out, you know that you've pumped the diesel through the fuel filter. You know, oh, here we go. Whoops. Oh, that was a bad mistake. That's something you don't do, is get diesel all over your electrical stuff. So not a good, it's not a good example, is it really? So anyway, I'm going to pop this in because I know that it's pumped right up. So that just goes in there, and I'm just going to fix up that mess. Just going to clamp these little clamps up. So they just go over here like so. And this one here. Okay, just to recap, I've put both of the hoses, I've clipped them back on. Just plug this last one in. Make sure your plugs are back in. So there's 2 plugs that you should have plugged in. There's this little black one at the top, and there's that light grey one down the bottom. Okay, so I know I've done that. Now I can just keep pumping until this feels nice and firm. And you're just checking to make sure there's no diesel coming out anywhere. So she's as firm as they come. You can just feel it. You can feel that it's nice and tight. I'm happy with that. So the car should start. There shouldn't be any air in it. I've cleaned up my mess, and now I've just got to tighten up those bolts that are holding this on. Pretty much your job's done. I've filled the oil up. The bung's on. I'm going to check underneath, make sure there's no oil coming out of the sump plug. And there you go, you've done a service. Now, I don't know what people charge for a service. They can range between $120 or $100 to $180 per hour to do this. It doesn't matter how long it takes you because you're not paying for your own time. But it really doesn't take too long to do, and you've done a fairly major service. The only thing that I haven't done is there's another fuel filter down the back between the 2 tanks. I haven't done that today on this episode, but that's another thing that you do, and you've done a major service. Job done. Well, I'm almost at the end. Can you hear that rain outside? So glad I'm in a shed. Anyway, so the last thing to do is pop the little plate underneath, the inspection plate, underneath where the sump plug is. So I'll just do that. I've tightened up the nuts that hold the fuel filter in place. So that's done. I've got the dipstick out, so I've got to put that back in, check the oil. And the only thing left to do is to start it up, make sure she runs okay. How good is that? She's running perfectly. No leaks. Engine oil's done. Job successful. How easy was that, eh? So let me know in the comments what you thought about that job and if you guys reckon you could do it yourself. Save yourself a lot of money. And while I'm here, I'm just having a bit of a look through, make sure there's nothing unusual around the place. Shouldn't be there. Any leaks or oil leaks, anything like that. But anyway, she's all clean, all running smoothly. So yeah, how awesome is that? Well, there you have it, everyone. That brings our episode to an end. Just thought I'd show you how we do a service on the Prado 150. Let me know in the comments if you think that you would be able to do yours now that you've seen me do mine. Cheers, see you on the next one. Prado 150, out of here.